Welcome. For this section, I'm going to focus on one problem because of dealing with all of the negative signs. That is a very common issue for most people with just little mistakes at times. So let's focus on what we do here and how we deal with all these negatives. So we are going to substitute for x this negative 2y. Oh, we'll rewrite that because we're going to substitute for x, it's negative 2. For y, it's negative 3, and for z, it's negative 4. There should be a comma in there. So we're going to rewrite this as negative 4. I'm going to put that negative 2 in place of the x. Minus 5, and it's a negative 3. Minus, for the z, it's a negative 4. Oh, let's clean this part up a little bit, so now it's really clear. So this was the x, this was the y, this was the z. But I was very careful to put them in parentheses because of all these negatives. So here in this case, we have two negatives, which means it's a positive 8, except it's not. Because immediately I started doing a mistake that many people do that they should not do, and that's an order of operations there, mistake. Remember that the order of operations is PEMDAS or something like that, parentheses or grouping symbols, you can call it, and then exponents, and then multiplication or division as they show up in the order they show up, and then addition or subtraction in the order they show up. So that means we need to do this exponent before we do the negative 4. So we have is negative 4 times negative 8, because that's negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2. So negative times negative is a positive 4, and then the other negative makes it a negative 8. And then we have two negatives multiplying to make it a positive 32. Now, in the next part, we don't have an exponent on the y, so it's just simply the negative 5 times the negative 3, which makes it a plus 15. Here we do have an exponent, and this time it's negative 4 times negative 4. The negatives cancel out, and we have a 16, but that's in parentheses. This negative out here is a separate negative from the negative with the 4, so that means it becomes minus 16. So that means 32 plus 15 minus 16, these two clearly are minus 1, so that means the answer is a 31. This is not a hard problem, it's just confusing sometimes for people when they have each of these negatives to deal with. Okay, so I purposely put in a bunch of them, and some of them because of dealing with exponents, when you still have a negative or don't have a negative. All right, so please be careful with negatives, and thank you for listening.